Hi, and welcome to Produce Talks, the CPMA podcast. From the Learning Lounge on the CPMA trade show floor, CPMA has asked industry leaders to create a series of questions for our retail panel that identify the biggest issues and hot buttons for retail and their expectations from their suppliers as they navigate the ever-changing Canadian retail landscape. On our panel, we have Frank Gambioli from Loblaw Companies, Jim Waits from Overwaitea Food Group, Reza Bafandeh from SPUD, the Sustainable Produce Urban Delivery, and our moderator is Les Mallard, CPMA Chair from Fyffes North America.
Mallard Produce Solutions, which is my company, but I also represent 4 or 5 companies in the industry. One of them is Fyffes. I've been in the industry for 31 years, and I'm chairman of the board for CPMA. So, and I'm so honored to be up here with these guests. There's a lot of experience up here in the retail industry. So I'm going to introduce them, and then I'll go over the subject, what we're going to do today. And then I've got some questions for them, and then I'd like you guys to answer some questions or ask some questions. So maybe what I can do with Frank, start off, just give him a little introduce yourself and help them understand who you are.
Frank Gambioli with Loblaw. Been with Loblaw 34 years. I have several different roles. I look after produce procurement nationally for all divisions. I look after meat procurement nationally for all divisions, and I also look after market division merchandising. So all merchandising, including grocery across Canada.
Small job.
Something you grow into.
Hey, Jim. Go ahead.
My name's Jim Waits. I've been with Overwaitea Food Group or Save On Foods for 44 years. I started when I was 16 years old packing groceries, and back then even doing home delivery, if you can believe it, a little bit before our time. It's a pleasure to be here today. I look after produce and floral for the company.
Reza.
My name is Reza Bafandeh, Vice President of Supply Chain for SPUD. I've actually recently joined the entire produce and grocery industry, but I've been on the retail and e-commerce front for about 11 years. I've worked with some companies, Digicala, Amazon, to name a few. But I handle basically the pick, pack, ship logistics and operational platform in British Columbia and Alberta.
So what's funny is when I hadn't met Reza till now, and he's spud.com, and I was thinking, holy cow, the PEI Potato Board would love to get that. But anyway, can you explain a little bit about SPUD? Because everybody knows what Loblaw's is, and everybody knows what Overwaitea is. But.
Sure. SPUD is an online platform. We're actually the largest pure play e-grocer in Canada. What we offer is basically the last mile solution. We have multiple storefronts. We have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 5 storefronts in British Columbia, 4 in Alberta. But we operate out of Vancouver, Victoria, Calgary, and Edmonton. What we offer is a wide selection of products, mostly, with a pure mindset of ensuring sustainability. But we offer produce, groceries, I think over 6,000 to 8,000 SKUs, depending on the location, delivered to you free if you hit your minimum order quantity, which I believe we're one of the best in the industry. We offer next day or specific days in terms of delivery platforms. We consider ourselves best in the industry when it comes to that specific mindset. Grocery delivery.
Great. Thank you. So what this forum is all about is the changes in the retail industry right now. There is huge changes in the retail industry, whether it's e-data logs, whether it is home delivery, whether it's the challenges involved in getting produce to the wholesale, to retail. The industry has changed, and I get a kick out of change. It's evolving. And the companies who evolve are going to do well. The people who just stay in the moment and say we're not going to evolve, they're going to have a tough time. So we've got these retailers up here to kind of measure their expectations for suppliers for the evolution of the produce industry. So I have a couple of questions that have been given to me from leaders in the produce industry in Canada. I want to start off with a couple of those, and then what we'll do is we'll ask you guys if anybody here has some questions, and then we'll finish up with everybody giving their last thoughts. So here's the first question I have, and I mentioned about e-data logs, and everybody knows right now logistics is a challenge, especially coming from the United States. So one of the questions we got, and I'll read this because I want to make sure I get it right, is what struggles you see within your own transportation logistics with the implementation of electronic data logs, or ELDs? And then what lessons can we learn from what is happening now in the US for when the devices are implemented in Canada, because those devices are coming to Canada. So who would like to take that?
Yeah, when the e-data logs went in the U.S. in January, it was a big change for us bringing products up from the U.S. because of the regulations in the driving. And for us, the road safety of the drivers is very important. The challenge for us was trying to get the cycles that the drivers go down into the U.S. They don't get as many cycles in a month from driving, so it restricted the amount of drivers that were hauling, especially perishable, up in the U.S. In January after Christmas, there was about, like in Arizona, in a one session there was 2,000 loads of product that need to be moved and only 200 drivers. So it was a real challenge, which the freight rates got higher and higher because of the demand on the trucks. So it's very important that we make sure we manage our supply chain and make sure that we forecast from a trucking perspective the loads out in advance, so we make sure we've got the deliveries on time for our consumers. So that will be coming to Canada, I understand, in the next couple of years. So it'll be another challenge that we have to adapt to.
Frank, anything on that?
The thing I would add is that it makes, obviously, with all the pressures, it's not just the produce industry, right? It's the grocery industry, it's the meat industry, it's across. So, I mean, for us, it makes us think differently on how we can use different ways of transport, right? Can we use more rail? Can you use, how you think about things differently, right? And even our own fleet, because we got a large fleet in Canada, so, how we can leverage, like we're spending a lot of time how we can leverage our own fleet and making sure we're maximizing every inch on that truck now, too.
But we've actually managed to distance ourselves from that problem, at least from the U.S. side of it. Most of our products are sourced locally. Okay. So that's one of the key advantages we have. We try not to over forecast. We try to always look at a very scope. What do we need for the next few days? Our days on hand with respect to inventory is very minimal. So we always try to make sure that we have the least amount of inventory to ensure the waste perspective is taken into consideration. But when it does come into Canada, I'm pretty sure we'll find and adapt to it.
Here's one. This I know this is close to Frank's heart because the implementation of this happened in Ontario, and it's going to happen everywhere else too. But in many provinces, vendors are struggling with the minimum wage increases. How are retail organizations combating this issue within their organizations? First of all, what is the impact to your organization now, and what do you anticipate in the future? We'll start there, and I got a couple other follow-ups.
For Loblaws, I mean, 55% of our business is done in Ontario. So between that and drug reform, it put probably almost $200 million of pressure to our bottom line. And for 2018, we're facing another dollar increase. Alberta. I mean, we're looking at any technological, any efficiencies in supply chain technology throughout all our whole business. If you've seen, we're testing in our stores robots that actually scan the aisles, that do taskless. Any efficiencies we can that's not customer facing. So anything customer facing, we want to leave alone, and obviously work on all the backroom stuff and how we can make more efficiencies. And in the DCs, how much automation we can get in is critical. We're looking at the automation piece. Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah, it's important for us too, and I guess the one good thing is our last collective agreement was all about giving our team members a living wage. So we have a smaller amount of our team member workforce that is below that minimum wage increase when it comes. So, but the impact will still be big for us being a smaller company than what Loblaw is with Frank. but it's important that we don't want to affect the team members and their livelihoods, and try to, like Frank said, come up with solution based that are going to reduce our costs in the company without reducing that cost for our team members. So we look at everything too, all of our facilities and trucking, maximizing the cubes on trucks to try to reduce the cost, so we don't have to worry about reducing our customer service in our stores.
So I think this problem for Spud is actually on two folds, and not really a problem, but more of an opportunity. So we actually tried to get ahead of the curve in terms of understanding the labor impacts, just because if we learn to adapt with it earlier, we're going to find a solution to it earlier. Yes, automation and a lot of technological advancements is part of what we're trying to do to make our operation platform better. But at the end of the day, we believe in more of a cultural platform. Keep your place happy people do a good job, and you'll get natural performance out of it. The second fold is we actually tried most organizations within the produce. I mean, you'd probably look at waste ranging from 3, 4, 5, 6%. Our waste is, we pride ourselves in it. I think we're at just under 0.5%. That's what we consider our core advantage. We try to minimize waste, repurpose, reuse, and really understand it from that perspective and that vantage point.
And now it's time to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Nature Fresh Farms.
Hi everyone, it's Kara here from Nature Fresh Farms. It's that time of year again. On top of being busy at work, the kids are back in school. Packing healthy lunches to fuel their learning and get you through your workday can sometimes seem challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Include healthy snacks like apples or bananas that don't need to be repackaged. And on your busiest days, opt for foods that require less prep time, like snacking tomatoes. For more easy ways to incorporate fresh and healthy foods into your family's healthy lunches, visit our website at naturefresh.ca.
And now back to the conversation.
Well, and the other thing with wages, when Ontario put the wage increase to $15 or $14 and moving it to $15, everybody said, well, it's an Ontario issue, but really it's not an Ontario issue. It cross-pollinates across the country. You get employment migration from the Maritimes, where I'm from, where it's the minimum wage is at $10.70 or $10.80. Seasonal agricultural workers decide to move to Ontario instead of going to. So it's a big problem, and I'm glad you guys were able to address it that way. I guess before we go on, does anybody have any questions first? I got 3 more questions I can ask. If you want me to start with that, or if you guys have any questions first.
I guess this would probably be more directed to Frank. Jim would probably answer this. In regards to the impact that e-logs have had on the logistics side, as far as like from your companies, have you felt at all, have you, I guess would say, identified a potential hotspot that you think that you guys could apply changes to that could mitigate the impact the electronic logs have had?
The hotspots, or you could look at the opportunities piece. I guess that's what you're at. Yeah, the opportunity for us is to make sure we're leveraging our consolidation centers, that our loads are coming up full. Because, as much as we thought our cube was being maximized in a lot of cases, it wasn't. Planning a little bit, not that we're not good planners, but now we're thinking about things a lot differently on how we plan, right, and leverage. And our own trucks, we do pick up a lot out of the U.S., our own fleet, so how we can leverage that amount, hotspots, we're looking at all those as opportunities where we can, keep our cost of goods down so we don't have to pay. Because a load, just for perspective, with e-logs, a load went up anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000. And when you're trucking, 2,800 loads a day across the country, it adds up. And so how we could leverage that and obviously not pass it on to the consumers, because not everybody's understanding that. If you're not in this business, nobody knows what an e-log is.
And even for us, we have to look at logistics, because we do mixer loads on tri-temp, so we'll haul grocery, produce, meats in different temperatures just to maximize. We don't ever want to send a truck that isn't fully cubed. And we also look at how we can do our supplier partners and get trucking that way, not just with us, but backhauls, trucks going out. We don't want deadheads coming back empty, so we try to maximize hauling something back and forth with our trucking to maximize the loads.
Thing I would add is, Rez touched on it earlier, is the local piece. We're spending a lot, to combat the e-log, as much as we can do local, we are the largest local buyer of produce in Canada. So this is the first year where we have indoor strawberries. Rimouchi PC strawberries are grown indoor in Leamington, Ontario. This is exclusive to Loblaw's. The other piece too is we did our first winter deal with all local out of Leamington. We didn't bought a little bit out of Mexico for the market division, but very little. So we bought probably 80%. We sourced locally, first time ever in our company. So that helps too.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. One good question that we did not abort too much during this CPMA is the reusable plastic container, the RPC. I know some of the major retailers have been using it for a long time now. Some has more experience into it. But is there a future for these RPC? How is it in your plan? Is it really a financial saving at the end of the day, or it's been done mostly for a more green thinking?
Point, we haven't looked at that. Or I shouldn't say we haven't looked at it. We've looked at it. It's a matter of getting all of the supplier partners that we deal with on that program, and then it's getting them into the store, getting them stacked, getting them back onto trucks, so backhauling all of those shipping containers, getting them in, getting them sanitized and washed and stuff. So it's something we've looked at, but at this point we're not doing it. Not in the produce division. The meat division we do, but not in produce.
I would echo that too. We've gone back and forth on this, on ROIs. Our biggest issue is the whole supply base has to get on it, right? That's part of the issue. Yeah, but if we're buying oranges from 10 different suppliers and only 5 use RPCs and 5 don't, it puts us at handcuffs us, right? So, and the other piece is the sanitation piece is critical, because where those things are coming from and where if they're not properly cleaned, it's a big issue.
I do have to mention, we try to eliminate any sort of plastic or any sort of non-recyclable material in our entire operation. We don't do it necessarily from an ROI perspective. We actually do it for our customers. It's within our core value. It's within our name. Our company starts sustainable produce urban delivery. And believe it or not, if we make a delivery to a customer, we've had it on our NPS scores where there's been plastic, and we actually get comments back or a call back, and why is there plastic in this shipment? What's going on? So we're actually even moving away to, when it comes to our beans, we want to put them in pouches that are reusable, rewashable, can be resourced again. So it's actually part of our foundation. Every decision that we make, we're B Corp. I think we're one of the highest B Corp rated companies in Canada. It's within our DNA. Every decision we make, it's around our biggest stakeholder, which is the planet.
I'm going to go back to one of the questions from that I have here from the industry. And one of the things, with me being chair for this year, one of the things I've talked about is bringing innovation and highlighting innovation and what innovation can do to push the produce industry forward. And one of the questions that we got is, what impact does technology have on your business? And what do you feel are customer expectations in terms of technology, i.e. the ability to quickly access information about products and online shopping? So why don't you start with that one? That's up your alley.
So we consider ourselves a tech company. We started in 1997, right before the dot-com bust. So we managed to survive that. But we do consider every decision we make, we try to incorporate technology. Transparency is one of the biggest things. Even from a receipt standpoint, you make a shopping list online, you make an order, you will on the bottom get how many kilometers approximately your total order has traveled from the point of the vendor to you. We try to provide transparency on when the order is arriving. At the end of the day, we are an e-commerce company, and the way we look at it, e-commerce is the final frontier of the internet world, or a grocery is the final frontier of the e-commerce world. It's not like a pair of socks. You go on Amazon, you buy a pair of socks, use it, you throw it out, probably throw it in the dishwasher. Food, grocery, produce is something that you buy It's a very intimate purchase. You buy it, you give it to your child, your parents, your family. And it's also a reoccurring purchase. So we will do whatever we can to implement any sort of technological platform to be able to ensure that the customer gets the visibility that they want from an order level. The customer gets what they want in terms of being able to communicate back to us, and also ensuring quality. So we are looking at equipment. We are looking at being able to identify machinery that will help us further provide a greater utility to the fulfillment perspective. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it did. As far as Spud goes, it answered my question, so thank you. Jim, what do you have?
Looking at transparency and technology with the consumers, we look at all of the social media sites like Twitter and Facebook. Same as our loyalty program, More Rewards, we have a huge base of customers that we can send information to, whether it be health related or product related. And same thing with e-com. Everybody's got to get into the e-com game, which we are, and we've got every site that we're building or even existing locations going into e-com, because that's something that the customer is looking for. So the technology is everything, looking at our transportation and technology, even our systems in technology, and how we can better serve our customers with the information that they're looking for.
I mean, for Loblaws, we were the first Canadian company to launch Click and Collect. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Click and Collect. You can do your order online and you can pick it up at your local store. I mean, that office, I joke about it because when you're merchandising, it's hard to get head count. That office had 5 people 3 years ago. It's 250 people now. So obviously it's a big platform for us, the digital piece. We have Instacart now, home delivery. And then when you look at our drug business, if you look at the shoppers piece, we're the first company to buy on online so you can have all your health care on a file. So you'll be able to access. So we bought a company out of out of Vancouver. So that digital platform, you look at PC Optimum, obviously a big platform for us also.
Can you quantify the percentage growth in your e-business? We've heard a lot about it in the last few years, but can you give some figures in terms of percentage increases in, say, the last 3 years?
It'd be hard. We were 170 stores last year. We're going to be at 500 this year. I couldn't give you a number. It's still a small base. I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't have it. Sorry.
Us too. It's a huge piece of our business now, and it grows and grows every week with the amount of orders. Same thing, Click and Collect, whether it's picking up or delivery. Like I say, every site that we're going into now, we're putting either, if it's not Click and Collect, it's delivery. And I don't have the numbers, but to Frank's point, that department that we had probably 8 people in it. Now we have them off in some portable trailers, and there's probably 50 people out there. So it's, in fact, even the vans itself, we're backlogged on trying to get enough delivery vans just to support what we need now for deliveries.
I can say that we're growing at a very healthy rate. The entire industry that segment of the industry is growing, but we are, uncontrolled growth is more dangerous than a pitfall. So we're trying to make sure that we control our growth to be able to maintain and not fall from being able to service the customer to our needs. But we are growing we're happy with where we are.
What's the demographic of customers who are using that service?
A wide range of customers, but the demographic is really contained to the areas that we deliver. So say, for example, we deliver in all of the GVA, all the way actually from Whistler to Pemberton and even farther. We're even actually going to Bowen Island. So we're trying to find any nitty-gritty area that we can service any client that we have. But demographic, it ranges. We have different cultures, different backgrounds, different ages. At the end of the day, it's we don't try to specifically target a specific demographic group. We're offering a service, and we have core values that we stand behind, and we service.
Of course, the millennials use that a lot, but so do the baby boomers. Of course, older than that, not as much, because my mother-in-law, when we first started Click and Collect, used to complain because she couldn't phone up the store and order her beans on the phone because she didn't have a computer. But it's mostly the millennials and baby boomers that we see that are our biggest growth areas.
I mean, for Loblaws, we would say Susan as our core customer, between 35 and 45, 2 kids, household income of 100,000. That would be a university educated. That would be probably our core customer, but to think it's changing so fast.
Just wanted to ask, with just so much competition out there and so many moving pieces, from the e-commerce to technology to Amazon getting into the game, what would you say is the number one thing you got to do critically well to gain market share with your companies?
Right now, one of our biggest initiatives is food safety with the consumer. It's absolutely paramount. Everything we do is food safety. And if you look at from a offering standpoint with the competition, you have to find your niche in the market. That's why we put a lot of restaurants. All our new stores have restaurants and sushi and the cut fruit, because you need to reinvent yourself all the time. And like it was mentioned earlier, if you stay with the status quo, you won't be in business for very long. And it's a very competitive market now, and we're a relatively small player when you look nationally. We're to Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, and in the Yukon now, but you have to stay on top of all the trends. And if you don't, like e-com, everybody's in it, so you have to be in that game.
I would echo everything Jim said. The thing I would add, if you look internationally at the Aldis and Lidls, who have devastated markets, Australia, the UK, big markets, the US. I mean, the US is in a price war today, right? I mean, with lowering retails between Lidl, Aldi, and Walmart. You have Bi-Lo, Winn-Dixie, Tops, A&P who've gone bankrupt in the US. And, if you think of the analysts, they'll say in the next 10 years, 30% of grocery retail will be non-existent. So for us, it's just to continue to lower prices. That's, with our no-frills, our maxis, is how we continue. I mean, if you look at Jeff Bezos, if you've read his book, his goal is to continue to lower prices. And I think the consumers are, there's no more loyalty, and people are looking for lower prices because they want to spend money and, buy new cars, go on trips, and people are very savvy these days. So, and I think the other piece too is, for everybody in this room, is produce, how we can differentiate in produce and deliver produce, because produce is the number one driver of loyalty anywhere in the world. So we're fortunate.
Difficult to answer that question, but we try to focus more on what the customer wants versus what the competition wants. I mean, we've been doing online grocery when online grocery wasn't cool. So it's been a while, and we've realized that there is a market for it. And how do we get good at it? But going back to the produce comment, an apple to you is different than an apple to me. So how do you find that perfect apple to be able to service the majority of the customers, and making sure that you hit that right spot, right? Because at the end of the day, it's trust. Grocery, again, as I said, it's the final frontier. So how do you shop for something that is so variable, that it's different? Tomato by tomato is different. The texture, the feel, the way it looks, the smell. I mean, it could all be different for every single person. So it's a very variable component. And training your staff to be able to identify what is that perfect, what is that one item, that one orange that fits within the parameter where you capture most of your customers. So I think that's one of our core advantages, that we've managed to develop an internal process to help identify and to help the people that are actually doing the work think that they're shopping for themselves, right? You go through the store, you grab an orange, you look at it, you touch it. Sometimes you even hit the watermelon. I don't even know why I do that. I've done it, but yes, knock on it. Is anybody home? Yeah, it's just being able to build that culture internally to provide a uniform product.
That's it? Can I get one more? I'm going to get one more, because I think everybody in here, everybody really would love to know this question from me. Yeah, I know. I got to be somewhere in 15 minutes, but that's okay. I'm willing to sacrifice that. to answer this question because I think it's important. What are your biggest concerns and your biggest priorities now and as you look to the future? I think everybody in here would love to know that.
So biggest concerns, believe it or not, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. For us, it's fuel. As we're increasing delivery, our core value is sustainability. Yes, we actually are managing to reduce our fuel consumption by gaining density, but how do we walk away from that? And, is it the electric model? What is the total environmental impact on that? Again, it's part of our DNA, and we're reducing packaging waste and ensuring that we can offer a product variety to our customers. I mean, if you go on our website, you want an onboard product into our website, it needs to be ban-free substances. You can't have packaging that is environmentally hazardous. So it already creates a barrier of onboarding products, so it limits the product variety to the customer. So how do we maintain competitiveness while ensuring that this remains part of our DNA? But we're actually turning it into an opportunity. So this thread, we're turning it into an opportunity, and that's our core message. This is what we can offer. So anything that you do shop from us, you can be promised that we are offering this platform that is exclusive. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to actually go through every single item and do a check and verify. We're doing that for you.
Our number one priority and looking in the future is food safety. Absolutely paramount that every single thing we do, it's about the customer and food safety. And the second thing is reducing food waste. We just launched a program on Vancouver Island with a company called Loop that all of our food waste goes in to them and then it goes out to livestock and farms. So we cut down on the amount of transportation we need and try to keep that product out of the landfills, or partnering with all of the food banks in every community that we serve to try to get that product to people who need it instead of putting it into the landfill. So those are the two biggest priorities for us going forward.
I mean, on the same lines, I mean, everything everybody said, but I mean, there's a couple of things too with, I mean, cost reduction is going to be it's going to be a continued pressure over the next couple of years. I mean, Ontario fringe costs are going up another 23%, another $1. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. I think the other thing, when you talk about CSR, corporate social responsibility, Loblaw is one of the leaders in Canada. First to buy 25 electric trucks, $15 million a year into kids programs for learning for breakfast. So good corporate social, obviously, responsibility is a big part of what we do. And I think Angela talked about it earlier, our purpose. That's our purpose, right?
I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for your questions. I want to thank the panel members, Frank, Jim, and Reza. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. I'm sure that the panel members will stick around for 5 minutes, even though I have to go, to maybe answer a few questions on one-on-one. So thank you again. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's it. That's all that we have for you this month on Produce Talks. I'd like to thank all our guests for being part of our show. Our sponsor, Nature Fresh Farms, your support is very appreciated. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Remember to check out elearning.cpma.ca to find out more about online training available from CPMA. Until next time, remember to seek out new knowledge, build your skills and abilities, and basically, never stop growing.
You will now be disconnected by the moderator.